welcome for another instalment of Mo's RC. This time I'd like to talk about cleaning. So I know everyone's got their own little cleaning rituals to do with all over the car, whether it's to do with electrics, to do with motors, to do with plastics, however you run your car. Generally, if you're doing a bit of rock crawling, you're not going that fast, so it shouldn't get too dirty, but then again everyone goes a little bit too far. We end up going submerged in water, we go in mud and everything. Mine get hammered across the beach, so they get a lot of sand and a bit of salt water and stuff on there, so they do get a fair kicking, and so far compared to other cars I've had, they've been fantastic. But when I do cleaning, whether it's right or wrong, you know, everyone's got their own, I say everyone's got their own rituals, same with washing your car. I use a combination of things. So this car, as you can see, it looks fairly clean in front of you there. This is about a year old. My son's TRX4 Sport, and you know what helps us keep it in sort of fairly trim, clean condition. You can see it's not that clean on the wheels, etc. And underneath the car, you can see that we've got a lot of corrosion here, mainly to do with the bottom of the motor there, to do with the salt from the beach, which kills motors. So that motor has to get blasted out quite a bit. Otherwise, it starts to seize up and start making some weird noises. But cleaning wise, I use a combination of a couple of different things. First of all, I use a big brush, a big paint brush, basically just to get in all nooks and crannies and try and get off as much of the sand as possible. Little paintbrush again to get into little tiny working areas to get a lot of the larger debris off. And then some people, I've seen videos on some people using high pressured water, like a jet hose, like a car wash pressure washer, or they've used a hose pipe, or they've put it in a bath and things like that, which is, you know, fine, you know, it gets rid of all the crap and gets it all nice and clean, but you want to worry about you're blasting potentially grease out of areas where it needs grease, potentially lubricants out of other areas that need lubricants. So I would refrain from doing that. But then again, if you're going to grease it up quite regularly, then there's no issues. You know, it's not too much. Got to bear in mind people do use detergents on it, which do break down the grease and get rid of that. So the other thing I use is a pick. So the hard to work areas. Just notice something there. So you can see on here we've got a bit of build up of that sand and stuff there. That's what I use. I'm picking it up so it loosens it all up, and then get a brush and you see it brushes it all away. You can use a screwdriver, or you can use you know, just a small nail. Before I managed to find using my toolbox, I used a small nail just to break things up and get it off. The other thing I use is I don't use compressed water or anything like that. I use compressed air. So I've got, just to show you here, small compressor. You know, that's I think it's a 7 litre compressor or something like that. You can get them fairly cheap, 50-60 quid. If you go looking for it, you can change the pressure on it to what you hold, and all I basically end up doing is just blowing it. Take it outside and give it a good blow off. Which seems to get a majority of the crap off. You see, this has just been blown off from my last outing yesterday, and it comes up quite clean. The other thing that helps out a hell of a lot is a combination of using two things. So I'm not sponsored by this crap or anything, I just used it. So WD-40 for I use that for mainly sort of anything that's moving. That tends to last a lot longer in areas like that's geared or drive areas, or things that are moving, like suspension and stuff like that, ball joints and stuff. That lasts a lot longer. So I use that in those areas, hence the nozzle and tube. And GT85, I find GT85, although it doesn't last quite as long, I spray that on all. You can see there's almost like a film on these anyway. That's because of all the plastics. So before I go out, unless I'm at the beach and stuff, I'll just give that a quick light spray over, and generally that stops a lot of the big dirt, a lot of the big bits of mud and sand sticking to it. And once it stops sticking to it, it just basically falls off. So once you've got the air hose and you blast it all off. I've had this, which is protection coatings. So it's from Dusty Motors for plastic and metal, and it's basically what you do with that kind of stuff is what you do is you spray it on when the car's new. Ideally, it's a bit like a nanotechnology. You spray it on all over the car when it's new, and the body, inside the body, outside the body. Once it's sprayed on, you give it a couple of minutes to sort of soak, and then you take a buffing cloth almost, and then rub it all up. That seemed to last quite well, a couple of weeks, and literally again stuff didn't really stick to it. but then after that it finished. So yeah, that's pretty useless. I'll stick with the GT85 because generally places have that quite cheap. Halfords normally have it in for like £4 or £5 a can, which is hugely expensive. I always wait till it's on Aldi or Lidl sometimes. It's £1 a can. Buy 4 or 5 cans and jobs are good, and it smells good as well. So there's always positives. But that's generally my cleaning regime. You know, bring it back, big brush, little brush, pick, air, and then give it a good spray with ease. That's it. I've never had to change any drive shaft ball joints apart from what I talked about in previous videos of the drive shaft. So far, electrically wise, it's been spot on. Motor, I do exactly the same thing with motor. So I'll briefly just talk about motor. So a little bit. What I tend to do there is unscrew the motor, drop that off, unplug it, turn it so it's a motor to show you actually. So this is for examples only, demonstration purposes, should I say. So I turn the motor that way round. This is a brushed motor, so you can't really see it too much. I then literally hold it like that, clip it to the inside of a tub or something like that. Place WD-40 in there, give it a good squirt. Normally what I try and do before then is I've got some brake cleaner, and using the same nozzle I'll put brake cleaner in there and just spread it out because it evaporates quite quickly, and then I go in with the WD-40. And so far, after over 2 years of abuse at the sea, that motor's still going. After it's been ran at the beach and we come back, once it's been sort of left in the garage for maybe an hour or 2 hour, a cup of tea and whatever before I come and clean them, I'll run it outside, and sometimes it'll be like screeching because it's everything's gone tight in it, everything's gone covered in rubbish, the points are all now covered in crap. Then I'll take it out, blow it out with air first, do a combination of the brake cleaner, WD-40, and then it frees up, and I don't hear any noises again until I come back after the sea next time. So touch wood, it's going strong. But the best thing to do, it's just personal preference, is to run a brushless motor. So my other TRX, which is there, it's got an axial motor in there, so before EXC. That's had that in for about 3 years now. Not had an issue with it at all, and that's been submerged in seawater quite a bit compared to this one. Yeah, any questions? If you like what you hear or you see, then give us a thumbs up. If you don't, give us a thumbs down, and then give us some points to work on. If you want to hear about anything else, anything specific with TRX4, TRX4 Sport, I may or may not know the answers, or you've got something you want to sort of explain to me, or point me in the right direction, that's great. Thank you very much. Cheers.